The Great British Bake-Off of Problems? Greetings, chaps and chapettes. Welcome to a slightly less sugary, slightly more serious look at the United Kingdom, home to around 67 million people, each navigating a sea of challenges. We all love their charming accents, their iconic landmarks, and of course, their legendary, culinary creations. But even the fanciest Victoria sponge has its cracks, right? Today, we're diving into the 12 biggest challenges facing the UK, with a dash of humor, because what's life without a bit of a laugh, eh? From immigration to cost of living crises, we're diving into the issues that keep Brits up at night. Hold on to your bowler hats. But hey, before you pack your bags and move to a tax haven on a tropical island, we won't blame you. Remember, every country has its quirks, right? America's healthcare system is basically a choose-your-own-adventure nightmare, and France can't decide if they invented the croissant or not. It was you guys. Just own it. Let's get started. Number 12. Immigration, integration, and multiculturalism. All right, let's dive right in with the hot potato. Immigration. Immigration has enriched British culture with delicious curries, vibrant festivals, and a whole lot of mateys from all over the world. But integrating newcomers can be a bit of a juggling act. Britain has a long history of welcoming newcomers, from the Romans nicking their teacups to those pesky French sending croissants across the channel. But lately there's been a bit of a debate about how many newcomers are just the right amount, with 685,000 net migrations into the UK in 2023. In addition, around 29,000 people crossed the English Channel from France in small boats into the UK. The UK has always been a melting pot of cultures, but recent years have seen rising debates over immigration policies. It's like trying to fit an extra-large pizza into a medium-sized box. Things get a bit squished. The UK's new points-based immigration system aims to control who enters the country based on skills and contributions to the economy. However, the impact on sectors like healthcare and agriculture, which rely heavily on migrant workers, needs careful management. Integration programs that support language learning and employment are crucial for successful integration. And let's not forget the cultural exchange. Who doesn't love a good curry or a vibrant carnival? But let's face it, balancing the need for skilled workers with public concerns about integration is like juggling flaming torches while riding a unicycle. But seriously, immigration brings a wealth of diversity and ideas to the UK. The key is finding the right balance, ensuring newcomers feel welcome while keeping everything from tube stations to housing markets from bursting at the seams. Number 11. The UK's cost of living crisis. Since 2021, the UK has been riding a wild roller coaster of a cost of living crisis, thanks to a perfect storm of global inflation, COVID-19's lingering chaos, geopolitical drama like the war in Ukraine, and the Brexit hangover. Prices for essentials like groceries, electricity, and clothing have shot up faster than a cat on a hot tin roof, hitting low-income families the hardest. The soaring costs have turned household budgets into tightropes, with many people, especially young folks, rethinking their big dreams just to stay afloat. A recent survey found that most 18 to 24-year-olds are ditching career aspirations to focus on surviving the economic uncertainty. Even though the rate of price hikes has slowed slightly, the road to recovery is still as bumpy as a cobblestone street. The financial strain has taken a toll on mental health, with stress and anxiety levels climbing. Communities are turning to food banks and support services in record numbers, highlighting the depth of the crisis. Policymakers are feeling the heat to come up with sustainable solutions to ease the economic burden on households. They're focusing on stabilizing prices, boosting financial support for the vulnerable, and spurring economic growth to create a more resilient and fair future. Solving these complex challenges is crucial for immediate relief and long-term stability, bringing hope for a brighter tomorrow in the UK. Before we move to number 10, if you are enjoying the video, please subscribe to our channel and share the video. It means a lot to us. Thank you. Number 10. The NHS, a national treasure under pressure. Next up, the National Health Service, or NHS, is a cornerstone of British society. Free healthcare for all? Brilliant, innit? But lately, the NHS has been feeling a bit under the weather, pun intended. It's like having a classic car, cherished but constantly in need of repair. For decades, the NHS has been the UK's pride, offering healthcare to all. But now, it's like a once great sitcom struggling in its latest season. Wait times for essential treatments are skyrocketing. Imagine waiting 18 weeks for heart surgery or cancer treatment, and a jaw-dropping 400,000 people have waited over a year. The stress on healthcare workers led to the largest walkout in NHS history in early 2023, with nurses and ambulance workers saying, "We've had enough." The NHS's struggles are compounded by an aging population, declining wages, severe staff shortages, increasing demand, and chronic underfunding. Add the COVID-19 pandemic to the mix, and it's clear the NHS needs a major reboot. As private health insurance options gain traction, many worry about the NHS's future. Policymakers, it's time for some serious triage before this healthcare sitcom turns into a full-blown tragedy. Number 9. Housing crisis. Finding a home in the UK can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack, if the needle cost £500,000. The housing crisis is a pressing issue, especially in urban areas like London. Young professionals are crammed into flats smaller than a double-decker bus toilet, and families are struggling to afford a roof over their heads. High property prices, coupled with high interest rate, a lack of affordable housing, and increasing homelessness are problems that many Britons face daily. The demand for housing far outstrips supply, leading to overcrowded living conditions and long waiting lists for social housing. In London, the average cost of renting a room is now around £1,000, which currently is around $1,265. The government has pledged to build more homes, but the pace of construction is slow. Innovative housing solutions and better urban planning are needed to address this crisis effectively. Let's hope for more affordable homes and fewer luxury flats that nobody can afford. Number 8. The silver tsunami, social care concerns. Britain's population is getting older, which is fantastic. More wisdom, more experience, and more demand for social care services. Finding quality care for the elderly and vulnerable can be a real challenge. The rising cost of care puts a strain on families and the government budget. We need innovative solutions, like supporting family caregivers, investing in accessible care facilities, and maybe even encouraging some intergenerational living arrangements. Think Golden Girls with a British twist. Number 7. Poverty and inequality. Despite being a wealthy nation, the UK has significant levels of poverty and income inequality. It's a bit like having a fancy feast in one room while others are scraping by on crumbs. Food insecurity and reliance on food banks have risen, highlighting the need for comprehensive social support systems. Programs like Universal Credit aim to support those in need, but critics argue that these measures are insufficient. The gap between the wealthy and the poor continues to widen, necessitating more robust policies to ensure economic justice and social welfare. Ensuring that everyone has access to basic needs like food, housing, and healthcare is essential for a just society. Number 6. Mind the gap. Education system concerns. The UK education system is a bit of a mixed bag. You've got prestigious universities churning out brainy boffins, but there's also a concern that not everyone has equal access to a quality education. Education is the cornerstone of any thriving society. But in the UK, there's a bit of a postcode lottery going on. Some schools are top-notch, while others struggle with fewer resources. It's like comparing a 5-star hotel to a budget motel. There are stark disparities in educational outcomes based on geography, socioeconomic status, and ethnicity. Closing the achievement gap and providing equal opportunities for all students is crucial, but easier said than done. In urban areas, schools might be well-funded and equipped, while rural schools often struggle with fewer resources. We need to invest in early childhood education, provide targeted support for struggling students, and make sure everyone has the skills they need to land that dream job, not just end up working in a chippy all their lives. A chippy is a fish and chip shop for those that are not familiar with the British linguistics. Number 5. The Great North-South Divide. The UK might be a small island, but the economic gap between the North and South is Grand Canyon-sized. While London boasts shiny skyscrapers and bankers in bowler hats, some northern towns are struggling. It's time for a bit of leveling up, as they say. We need to invest in these northern regions, create jobs, and make sure everyone has a chance to prosper, not just those sipping afternoon tea in posh Mayfair neighborhoods in central London. Number 4. Transport and schools infrastructure. The UK's transport infrastructure is aging and requires significant investment. Improving public transportation, reducing congestion, and enhancing connectivity are essential for economic growth and quality of life. Commuting on packed trains and buses can feel like a daily endurance test. Projects like the High-Speed 2, HS2, rail line aim to improve connectivity between major cities, but they come with high costs and environmental concerns. Updating transport infrastructure to meet modern demands while being environmentally conscious is a critical challenge that the UK must address. Education shapes futures, but in the UK many kids are stuck in unsafe or aging schools, about 700,000 students to be precise. Picture this: asbestos lurking in the walls and sewage leaks turning hallways into slip-and-slide nightmares. If that wasn't bad enough, more than 3,000 students are sent home daily, thanks to frequent suspensions since the pandemic. It hits low-income kids and those with special needs hardest, making them 4 times more likely to be suspended. These issues scream for investment in safe school buildings and better support systems. Plus, cutting down on suspensions is crucial to giving every child a fair shot at learning. Let's turn these schools from horror stories into success stories. Number 3. The UK's mental health crisis. Mental health conditions are as common in the UK as tea and crumpets, yet stigma still blocks many from getting care. In fact, 9 out of 10 people with mental health issues say stigma and discrimination make their lives worse. Seriously. The financial toll is no joke either, costing at least £117.9 billion annually. This massive bill comes from lost productivity and unpaid informal caregivers doing their best to support their loved ones. The stigma around mental health is like a bad joke that just won't die, making it harder for people to seek help and worsening their conditions. Boosting mental health awareness and reducing stigma can lead to better support systems and smarter resource use. Tackling these issues is key to improving individual well-being and the UK's economic health. Let's end the stigma and start the conversation. Number 2. The UK's child poverty crisis. In the UK, about 14.5 million people, including 4.3 million kids, are grappling with poverty. Yikes. Projections show household incomes are dropping like hot potatoes, hitting Black and minority ethnic children hardest. Imagine, 46% of them live below the poverty line compared to 26% of white British kids. Northern schools, getting the short end of the funding stick, highlight how poverty messes with education and health by age 17. Born into the poorest families, you're likely to face more hurdles than an Olympic track event. The funding gap between northern and southern schools is a critical issue, making it essential to allocate resources equitably. Let's fix these disparities and ensure every child in the UK gets a fair shot at success and a brighter future. Number 1. Political polarization. Let's talk politics. Political polarization and division have been exacerbated by Brexit and other contentious issues. Bridging the gap between differing viewpoints and fostering national unity is a significant challenge for policymakers. It's like trying to host a dinner party where half the guests are vegan and the other half only eat meat. Finding common ground is tough. Brexit has highlighted deep divisions within the UK, not just between political parties but also within communities and families. Addressing these divides and promoting dialogue and understanding is essential for the UK to move forward cohesively. So there you have it. 12 major challenges facing the United Kingdom. By understanding these issues, we can better appreciate the efforts being made to overcome them and support initiatives that aim to create sustainable solutions. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, comment, share it, and subscribe for more insights into global issues and inspiring stories of resilience.